Hello again, class. We find ourselves with another video in regards to the Python programming. In the prior video, what we had before was an overview of the shell or the idle. So in this video, what we're going to do is we're going to start looking into dipping our toe on programming with Python itself. And we're going to kind of start with a couple of the very familiar or will be familiar commands, such as print or input. So as before, what I always like to do is do a file new and provide me a blank slate to work on. So let's look at print initially. So with the print, you'll always generally put a bracket, and you'll either use a double or a single quote when dealing with strings. A string is simply letters of a sentence, right? So our initial one is print hello, and we always close our encasing here. And we can either do a run module, or hit F5 key. And every time that you make any change within your Python program, it'll request you to save it prior to running. So once it runs, what we are provided with is where and what the name of the file is that we've saved and the output of that program. And here we just currently have hello. But let's expand on it a little bit. Not only let's say hello, let's say how are you? And yes, I purposely did put a space in between a question mark and the quotation. So we're going to hit F5 once more, save it before it runs, and our output is hello and how are you on two separate lines. Now we can also change this again, and let's put it all on the same line. I'm going to go ahead and take this out. Now to add these two together, I'm simply putting a plus sign. Sometimes it's called a concatenation, right? Putting two things together. So now I again have my double quotes around my hello, my little plus sign, a double quote, and my question. Now what do you think is going to be the output of this? Let's find out. So I'm going to hit F5, and here is our output. Notice it has hello with no space and our how word. Even though that we have a space in between here, our output is still going to be within the quotes. So in order to fix this, what we could do is we could do a space. Let's go ahead and see what this looks like. Now we have our hello space, how are you? Because our space is between the double quotes in our print statement. But let's expand on this even more. This time we're going to use what we refer to as a variable. Now a variable is nothing more than a placeholder of information. And we're going to call our variable name. And we're going to use a new command called input. And with input, again, we have our brackets and our quotes within it. We're going to ask a simple question. And that question is going to be, what is your name? And we always end it with the same as we started with. So now, when we run this, what's going to happen is it'll ask us or prompt us, and then whatever we keyboard in is going to put that information into this variable. But that's not going to do us any good. We want to see what that value is. So this is again where our print comes in. And notice I don't put any string quotes in here, and the reason so being is I'm not printing out a string like you see in this sentence. What I'm printing out is this variable. Now I don't want this to print out anymore because I don't need it. So what I could use is a hashtag the symbol that's above the 3 on your keyboard, and notice the change in color. And what this does is it allows you to put any information that you want as you're building your program, and it does not affect the output. So let's hit F5 and see what we see. So in our initial output, here we see our "what is your name," as we see in here. Now I'm going to put my name on here and then hit enter. And now at this point, it takes the value that I put in to the name variable, a placeholder, and then it prints out what I put in. And this is referred to a lot of times in computer language, garbage in, garbage out. You only get what is provided to you. Okay? So let's expand on this a little bit more. We don't want to simply put out our name. We want to put out something a bit more to make it a little more interesting. So instead of just name, let's print "your name is." Now we have to push this together, right? And also I have a space here because similar to before, we don't want them mushed together. But just like also similar before, I'm adding these two together on the same line. So I'm using my plus sign. But I don't have to put the quotes in here because, again, like before, I'm using the variable. So now what we're going to see, hopefully, is it's going to ask us what is our name. What we put that information in as being a variable or placeholder of name. I can make this anything, to be honest with you, but for the simplicity of this example, we're going to use this. And then it'll print out the actual sentence. Your name is space, whatever we put in here, another space, and a period. Let's try it out. So now it's prompting me, what is my name? I'm going to hit enter, and now it prints out the very next line. Your name is Matt, space, period. So I did not actually need that space, did I? I can correct it pretty easy. That looks a lot better. So what I want you to do, class, on this week 3 is to make a simple Python program. And you could do whatever you wish as far as the sentence, but what I would like for you to do is use the input and the print. And you can make it as elaborate as you want to, as a paragraph as you want to. But that's the request for this week.